week in motion for managers. We're going to start doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be sending you a video each week that you can utilize at your team meeting that has recognition in it. And we're also going to be using a video to send to you that has coaching tips and ideas for you to impact your team. First off, I do want to recognize a couple things. Number one, I want to recognize the Philadelphia Flyers for being the Stanley Cup playoff finals. We're fired up for our cup run. And I also want to recognize our offices this week who made the national newsletter. I want to give special recognition to Matt Vukovic, Stacy McClellan, and Kevin Barlow for hitting national newsletter on the branch level. Chris Hammond and Josh Thayer for the office level. I want to recognize Angie Anaya, Nick Ruiz, and Allison Frazier for the first full year district level. And it was great to see Allison from 7,000 to 17,000 in 1 week. Marcus Mangus, new district level. Nicole Shooter for the district competition, number 4. And then the Indiana division, number 7 in the nation. Empire just outside the top 10 by $6,000. So let's get back on there this next week, as well as let's get all of our divisions climbing that divisional ladder. This week, what I want to talk to you about is making sure that you have the right expectations moving in to June, and that your thoughts about this week in particular are about doubling and tripling, and in some cases quadrupling your sales report. So many times our expectations drive what we say to people and drive what we create with our business. And this week on the conference calls, I talked about the concept of having the mindset of creating business. Let me just show you some numbers nationally from the National Sales Report. Rich Plaskin this past week went from 10,000 to 40,000. That wasn't in an 8-day week, that was just in a normal week. Mike Chu had 3 bad launches in a row for the first 3 weeks of May. This past week went from $10,000 to $45,000. All right. Dave Powders, who got a bunch of PRs into training from kids who are doing well in their fast start, not by collecting names, but by asking them to bring people in after he had collected names, the old-fashioned PR program where we asked people who do they knew that could use a job, can you get them in for an interview, went from $15,000 to $40,000. All right. I shared the ones in our region that went from 15 to 25, but check this one out. Angie Buckingham, who is in Canada, so you don't see her report nationally, went from $45,000 to $92,000 in sales, and this week her goal is $120,000 in sales. So I just want to make sure that you're believing big enough. There's going to be a lot of offices in the Midwest region this week who go from $5,000 to $20,000. Now, how are you going to get there? Well, part of it is by how you're managing your reps and the expectations that you have. And this was shared on this week's conference calls by Craig Coker and Josh Thayer about talking to your reps about going big, expecting them to go big, and helping them put together a game plan to go big. You can't be afraid when you're managing people of losing them. You have to help them find their goals and then push them to their goals. A great way to do this, to have people elevate, is to tell a story about some of the top representatives in the region. And I was able to hear the story from Maggie Ogborn. I want to tell the story. Maggie sold $7,000 this past week. Now, here's Maggie's story. Maggie came to the office every single day and made phone calls from the office after being at the office at 7:30 in the morning. All right. She then went out and did 3, 4, or 5 demos and made phone calls that evening. So if you want to be a top rep in our business, you should be on the phone twice a day, but at the very least, you should be on the phone once a day, all right? Now, she wasn't that great in terms of average order when she first got started. Her average order was $150 for her first full week. But she kept consistent, she kept trying to learn, and she was attending meetings to help her get better. Finally, after her second FSM development meeting, she exploded, and her last weekend she sold $3,000 in 3 days to get her a $7,000 report and a $10,000 fast start. Now, I share that with you because you could tell that story to your representatives at a team meeting, to someone in their fast start, to have them buy into the concept of making phone calls more than once a day, to come into the office to make phone calls, as well as improving their skills. See, this is the way you want to talk to your people and say, you know, what would you do if I could guarantee you you'd make $2,000 in 10 days? Because that's what this girl did. And you can, I don't know if I can guarantee you $2,000, but I know if you do all these things, you're going to make a lot more money than if you don't. So let's talk about you making a big move this week. And after that, it's outlining a schedule for them. And then it's holding them to that schedule, having them meet you at the office to make phone calls, having them get on the phone to get more demos. Don't be settling for 1 or 2 demos a day if someone's shooting for $2,000 or $3,000. Have individual conversations with people about setting goals and what it's going to take, and then help them stay accountable to that. All right. Now, I gave some tips this week on Memorial Day And the one thing that I want to let you know is I know that a lot of divisions have division meetings on Memorial Day, and you can definitely utilize a meeting as well as a contest as well as a Memorial Day weekend to promote sales. But one thing you have to learn as a manager is a meeting by itself does not promote or does not produce any sales, and a contest does not produce any sales. What produces sales is a manager utilizing a meeting or a contest or anything else to help a rep set goals, make a schedule, and then using that to motivate them to go after this. All right. So I want to encourage you that as you talk about the division meeting, I'm going to give you a couple tips that you can really utilize to get the most out of your reps' performance. So talk to your reps about getting recognized at the division meeting. Set a goal for how soon they can get over $2,500, or if they're over $5,000. Utilize that to set appointments, to set phone time, and drive that. But have the conversation lead to appointments, demos, and phone time. When you're going to the meeting, the weekend before the meeting, what you want to say is, okay, I want you to have an explosion out of the meeting. I want you to be able to take the information and utilize it right away. A lot of divisions will have an Arrive with 5 contest, and that is designed to motivate your people to come up with appointments. But you as a manager, when you're doing PDI, you want to make sure that you're driving this. See, it's the contest won't create appointments. It's you that'll create appointments by driving. Hey, we're having an Arrive with 5 contest. I want you to come in Saturday morning for a phone jam. So number 1, you can book your weekend, and number 2, that you can start to line up appointments after the division meeting, because I want you to explode out of the division meeting. So I want you to share those thoughts. Now, if you take these ideas and you utilize the most of your meetings, all right, you will have bigger pop in June than you normally would have all by yourself. But you couple this rep management, this expectation, this goal setting and PDI management, you couple it with a drive in recruiting, which is what we've been talking about, and you will explode in June. June is the biggest recruiting month of the entire summer, every single year, and we're going to take this thing to town. We're going to go after it. The main thing that you want to focus on is how you can elevate your PR program to the next level and how you can improve your efficiency. You know, the PR program, we've been having the stimulus contest, and I'm so happy that so many of you took advantage of this. Now it's time to just get serious about benchmarks. I mean, if you're a new office, you should be setting, I'm going to guess, at a minimum 30 to 40 PRs, all right, by Monday or Tuesday, and 50 for the week at a bare minimum. Okay. In fact, you should be shooting for 100, but that's at a bare minimum. If you're a veteran office, you should be shooting for 100 by Monday or Tuesday, and then 150 to 200 after that. If you are serious about some of the goals that you wrote down, you can't make an excuse for your PR program. You got to do whatever it takes to make this thing happen. This is going to be the difference maker. When all is done and said this summer, this will be the difference maker. I'll bet you that the top branch is in the top 3 in PRs, that the top district is going to be in the top 3 in PRs. This past week, we saw the Nadine and Elliot in the Indiana office jump from $9,000 to $23,000 in sales, and they launched 17 PRs. So that's what someone does in 1 week. All right, I want everybody to get on board and focus on having 1 PR or 2 PRs. And that's why we have this exciting Memorial Day contest for you that all of you know about, that we're giving away iPads or free rent or $800 in cash. All you got to do is recruit 5 PRs on Sunday and Monday, and you're in the drawing to win. Let's go after PRs, let's do great rep management, and let's make a big move this week and quadruple your sales report.